Have you ever been in this classic situation? You understand perfectly when the tour guide explains the history of a tourist spot. But when you need to ask where the nearest bathroom is, your mind goes completely blank. Or you can read the metro signs perfectly, but you hesitate to order coffee because you're afraid of stuttering or making mistakes. If you've been through this, you're not alone. This is one of the biggest frustrations for people who love to travel, but feel that English is a barrier between them and incredible experiences. Hi, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm Charlie, and in this video you will learn how to communicate with confidence in Barcelona. From ordering coffee at the famous Café Central to buying tickets for the Picasso Museum, you will discover why your mind freezes even when you understand English perfectly, and more importantly, how to transform this hesitation into natural fluency. Stay until the end, because I will present 5 words considered difficult that will boost your travel vocabulary. And I will give you an extra tip that will revolutionize how you communicate anywhere in Barcelona. With our slow English methodology, you will learn to express yourself clearly, without fear, and naturally. Get ready to unlock your voice and transform your travels into much richer and more authentic experiences. Let's start. Understanding English is like reading a detailed travel map. You recognize street names, tourist spots, you know where to go. It's a receptive skill that involves auditory and cognitive processing. Your brain simply receives and processes information, but speaking is completely different. Speaking is like driving the car through those streets. It requires action, practice, motor coordination of the mouth and tongue, and the ability to recover and organize words and phrases quickly under pressure. It's a productive skill. Your brain needs not only to recognize information, but to generate it from scratch, instantly. That's why you understand when the metro worker announces next station, Passage de Gràcia, but you freeze when trying to ask, "Excuse me, which line goes to Sagrada Família?" Or when you're at the Camp Nou ticket office and want to ask about tour times, but you can't form the sentence, "What time is the next tour?" Now, I will share with you 4 powerful tips that will end this fear of speaking and transform you into a confident traveler. Here, we will start practicing together to improve your understanding and fluency. It will work like this. I will talk about essential chunks for different situations in Barcelona, and you will repeat after me, okay? Tip 1. Start with complete phrases for each situation. Instead of learning isolated words like ticket or direction, you need to learn complete chunks. Chunks are pre-made language blocks that you can use immediately. They reduce cognitive load because you don't need to build the sentence word by word. Imagine you're at El Prat Airport, arriving in Barcelona on the metro going to Las Ramblas, or buying tickets for Casa Batlló. These phrases will work perfectly in any situation. To ask for information at the airport, "Excuse me, where is the metro station?" Now it's your turn. Repeat the phrase, "Excuse me, where is the metro station?" Excellent. To buy metro tickets, 1 ticket to city center, please. Now it's your turn. Repeat, 1 ticket to city center, please. Very good. You are building your independence in public transport. To ask for directions on the street, "How do I get to Sagrada Família?" Now it's your turn. Repeat, "How do I get to Sagrada Família?" Perfect. To ask for recommendations, "What do you recommend?" Now it's your turn. Repeat, "What do you recommend?" This works in restaurants, souvenir shops, and even for tourist activities. Now that you have these fundamental phrases on the tip of your tongue, Let's move to the next strategy that will amplify your confidence even more. Tip 2. Practice real Barcelona scenarios. Now that you mastered the basic chunks, let's apply them in specific Barcelona situations. Mental practice is as powerful as real practice because it trains your brain to react automatically in pressure situations. Imagine you just arrived at El Prat Airport. You need to get to your hotel in our example. First, you look for signs, and if you don't find them, ask, "Excuse me, where's the metro station?" When you get to the station, you buy the ticket. One ticket to city center, please. If you have doubts about which line to take, ask, "Which line goes to Pasig de Garcia?" During the trip, if you get confused, you can ask other passengers, "Is this the right direction to city center?" Now visualize yourself on the famous Las Ramblas, wanting to visit La Boqueria Market. You're a bit lost, and ask a local, "Excuse me, how do I get to La Boqueria Market?" When you get to the market, you want to try some exotic fruits. You approach a stall and ask, "Can I try this?" pointing to the fruit. If you like it, say, "I'll take 2 of these, please," to know the price. How much is this? Think about a morning in Barrio Godec, wanting to visit Barcelona Cathedral. You at Caf Central in Placa Real, having coffee, and ask the waiter, "How do I get to the cathedral?" He explains, but you want to confirm. Is it walking distance? When you get to the cathedral, you want to know about schedules. What time does it open? And how much is the entrance fee? Imagine an afternoon at Park Güell. You arrive by metro, but are confused about where exactly the main entrance is. You ask a guard, "Excuse me, where is the main entrance?" When you find the ticket office, ask, "Do I need to buy tickets in advance?" If there's a line, you can ask, "How long is the wait?" To improve your experience, do you have audio guides in English? Visualize yourself wanting to visit the famous Camp Nou FC Barcelona Stadium. You at Colblanc metro station and ask, "How do I get to Camp Nou from here?" When you get to the stadium, you want to know about tours. What time is the next stadium tour? And what's included in the tour? If you want to buy souvenirs, where is the official store? Think about a night in Elborn neighborhood, wanting to have dinner at a typical restaurant. You're lost among the narrow streets and ask, "Excuse me, do you know a good restaurant around here?" When you find an interesting place, do you have a table for 2? If you don't have a reservation, how long is the wait? To understand the menu, what's the specialty of the house? Visualize a visit to the Picasso Museum in Elborn. At the entrance, you ask, "How much is the entrance fee? And do you have student discounts?" To plan your visit, how long does it take to see the whole museum? If you want information, do you have a map in English? Each of these scenarios trains your brain for different social and cultural contexts. The key is to visualize not just the words, but also the environment, sounds, smells. The more detailed your visualization, the more prepared you'll be for the real situation. But what if something goes wrong? What if you make a mistake? This leads us to the next fundamental tip. Tip 3. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are your ally. Here's a liberating truth. Your goal is to be understood, not to be perfect. Barcelona is a cosmopolitan city that receives millions of tourists every year. Metro workers, vendors, tour guides, and attendants are used to people from all nationalities trying to communicate in English. They won't judge you. On the contrary, they'll be happy to help. Even if you say, "Me want ticket," instead of "I would like a ticket," you will be understood perfectly. At the Metro ticket office, workers have heard everything and can always understand what the passenger wants. The important thing is to try. Let's see some examples of how simplicity works. At El Prat Airport, you can simply say metro, pointing to the signs, instead of "Could you please tell me where the metro station is?" Both work perfectly. At Casa Batlló, you can point to the building and say tour. Effective communication doesn't need to be complicated. At La Boqueria Market, if you want to try Jamin Iberico but don't know how to ask, you can simply say, "Can I try?" While pointing to the product, the vendor will understand immediately. If you want to buy fruits but don't know the names in English, you can say two of these, pointing to the apples. At the metro station, if you want to go to Sagrada Família but don't know how to pronounce it correctly, you can show it on the map and say, "This station, please." It works perfectly. At Park Güell, if you don't know how to ask for schedule information, you can simply say "open time," pointing to your watch. The truth is that human communication goes far beyond words. Gestures, facial expressions, tone of voice, all of this helps convey your message. At Camp Nou, you can simply point to the stadium and say tours, and they'll understand you want information about visits. Remember, every mistake is a learning opportunity. If you say "Where is bathroom?" instead of "Where is the bathroom?" you'll still be understood, and next time you'll remember the article. At the Picasso Museum, if you say "How much?" instead of "How much does it cost?" the worker will give you the price with a smile. Barcelona people are known for their hospitality. At Barcelona Cathedral, if you're struggling with a word, workers often try to help in Spanish or even Catalan, creating a rich cultural experience. Fluency comes with practice, not perfection. Every attempt, every small mistake, every small success is building your confidence and ability. Embrace the process and remember, you're being brave by trying to communicate in another language. Now let's move to a specific technique that will dramatically accelerate your progress. Tip 4. Use slow shadowing to accelerate your fluency. Shadowing is a powerful technique where you listen and repeat almost simultaneously, imitating pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. With our slow English, you will train your mouth and brain to speak naturally, as if you were a local. This technique develops what we call muscle memory of speech. Your mouth and tongue muscles will get used to the movements necessary to produce sounds in English. Let's practice with phrases you'll use constantly in Barcelona. First, listen carefully, then repeat imitating exactly the rhythm and intonation. For airport or station situations, "Excuse me, could you help me find the right platform?" Now it's your turn. Repeat, "Excuse me, could you help me find the right platform?" Fantastic! This phrase is essential for navigating public transport. For museums and tourist attractions, what time does the museum close? Now it's your turn. Repeat. What time does the museum close? Perfect. Always important to know schedules to plan your visit. For shopping situations, do you accept credit cards? Now it's your turn. Repeat. Do you accept credit cards? Excellent. Essential for shopping in Barcelona. For detailed directions, is it better to walk or take the metro? Now it's your turn. Repeat. Is it better to walk or take the metro? Shadowing works because you're training, you're listening, pronunciation, and fluency simultaneously. The more you practice, the more natural your speech will sound. Now that you master the fundamental techniques, let's expand your vocabulary with words that will make all the difference in your Barcelona experiences. I will share with you 5 words that may seem intimidating at first sight, but are absolutely essential for any traveler who wants to have authentic and safe experiences in Barcelona. These words will open doors, avoid misunderstandings, and show locals that you are a respectful traveler interested in the culture. The first word is reservation. This word is your gateway to the best restaurants, tours, and even some Barcelona attractions. When you call the famous Tickets restaurant and say ID, like to make a reservation for tomorrow night, you're showing planning and respect for the establishment. You can also use it at the hotel. I have a reservation under the name Johnson at Camp Nou. You can ask, do I need a reservation for the stadium tour? This word shows organization and seriousness. The second word is available. This word will help you discover what's open, available, or possible in Barcelona. At the Picasso Museum, you can ask, are audio guides available in English? At Park Güell, are tickets still available for today? At the hotel, is room service available? At the metro station, is the elevator available? It's a versatile word that works in practically any situation. The third word is included. This word is fundamental to understand exactly what you're paying for and avoid unpleasant surprises. On the Sagrada Familia tour, is the audio guide included in the price? At the hotel, is breakfast included? On the tourist bus tour, are all the stops included? At the restaurant, is the tip included in the bill? Knowing how to use this word can save money and avoid misunderstandings. The fourth word is recommend. This word will open doors to authentic local experiences you would never discover alone. At the hotel, you can ask, what restaurants do you recommend? At the Tourist Information Center, what attractions do you recommend for families? On the metro, to a local, which route do you recommend to avoid crowds? Barcelona people love sharing their local tips when you ask politely. The fifth word is exchange. This word is essential for practical matters during your trip. At the bank, where can I exchange money? At the store, can I exchange this if it doesn't fit? At the hotel, what's the exchange rate? The airport, is there a currency exchange here? It also works for social situations. Can we exchange contact information? It's a word that solves practical daily problems. These 5 words will significantly elevate your communication ability in Barcelona and anywhere else in the world. They show sophistication, attention to detail, and respect for local culture. Now let's see how all these techniques and vocabulary we learned connect in a real situation. Imagine you're at the Tourist Information Center in Plaça Catalunya, the heart of Barcelona. This place receives thousands of tourists daily and is the perfect scenario to apply everything we learned. Notice how the tourist uses the chunks we practiced, applies essential vocabulary, and keeps the conversation flowing naturally, even with simple constructions. Also note how he's not afraid to ask questions and seek detailed information, exactly what we discussed in our tips.
Good morning. Do you speak English?
Good morning. Yes, of course. How can I help you?
I'm visiting Barcelona for 3 days. What do you recommend?
That's wonderful. Are you interested in art, architecture, or maybe food?
I love architecture. I definitely want to see Sagrada Família and Park Güell.
Excellent choices. Do you have tickets already, or do you need to buy them?
I need to buy them. Are reservations required?
Yes, especially for Sagrada Família. I recommend booking online. Would you like me to show you how?
That would be great. Is the audio guide included in the price?
For Sagrada Família, yes. For Park Güell, it's separate. Do you want both?
Yes, please. How do I get to Sagrada Família from my hotel?
Where are you staying?
Near Las Ramblas in the Gothic Quarter.
Perfect. Take the metro from Liceo station. It's about 15 minutes. Do you have a metro map?
No. Could you give me one? And what time does Sagrada Familia open?
Here's your map. It opens at 9 a.m. I recommend going early to avoid crowds.
Thank you so much. One more question. What restaurants do you recommend for dinner?
Are you looking for traditional Catalan food or something international?
Traditional, please. Something authentic.
Try Cal Pep for tapas or Seven Portes for paella. Both are excellent and very authentic.
See how the conversation flows naturally. The tourist used practically all the chunks and vocabulary we practiced, asked if they spoke English, asked for recommendations, questioned about reservations, asked what was included, asked for directions, and even requested restaurant suggestions. He showed genuine interest in local culture and maintained a positive attitude throughout the interaction. Most importantly, notice how he didn't hesitate to ask multiple questions, asking are reservations required, and is the audio guide included? Shows he's engaged and wants to completely understand what he's buying. This is exactly the type of confident communication we want to develop. Now it's time for my special extra tip that will revolutionize your Barcelona experience. Here's the secret that few travelers know. Always have an emergency question prepared. Before entering anywhere, whether the metro, a museum, a store, or restaurant, think of this magic phrase. "Excuse me, do you speak English?" This simple question has incredible power. First, it breaks the ice politely. Second, it gives you valuable information about how the conversation will flow. Third, it shows respect for the person, asking before assuming they speak English. And fourth, it gives you a few extra seconds to organize your thoughts while the person responds. For example, when entering Sagrada Familia, "Excuse me, do you speak English? I'd like to buy tickets for the tour." On the metro, "Excuse me, do you speak English? Which line goes to Park Güell?" This anchor phrase eliminates 90% of initial anxiety and establishes a respectful tone for any interaction. Remember, every phrase you try, every question you ask, every interaction in English is a crucial step toward a richer, more authentic, and worry-free trip. Barcelona is a city that embraces travelers from around the world, and your attempt to communicate in English will always be well received. The goal of this type of video is for you to have complete understanding of what was spoken and explained. So I recommend you watch this video at least twice. The first time, focus on understanding the concepts. The second time, practice repeating the phrases with me. Start applying these tips today and feel the difference. Which of these phrases will you use on your next trip? Leave in the comments what you liked most in this class. I love reading your comments and knowing how you're applying these techniques in your adventures. If you liked these valuable tips for traveling with more confidence and want to continue unlocking your English, subscribe now to the Slow English Fast Learning channel, activate notifications so you don't miss any content, and join our community of travelers and learners. Like this video and share it with that friend who also dreams of traveling and speaking English without fear. I'll see you in the next video.